Test, test, test. Test, test. Welcome, Rise Rise baby. Good to see you. Let's see if some more people join, or might be also it's still Easter, or at least a lot of people in Europe are free. So it could be that many people are enjoying the weather, since we finally have some good weather. Welcome, Bren. Good to see you as well. Mel, good to see you as well. We have some pretty interesting price action. So let's wait one more minute. See if some more people join, and then just gonna get started. Ah, Dylan, good to see you, brother. Looking forward to this evening. Okay, so first let's zoom out a little bit. Let's close off the. We had this weekend range where basically last Sunday we SFP'd our market structure low. Then we rotated up, and then we had last week super choppy price action with sweeps of the highs, sweeps of the lows. But respecting the market structure super cleanly, where we SFP one side and rotate back to the other side. And then eventually we ended up with the range low, range high as the main range. And the internal range was the one I was looking at here, which eventually got disrespected. So I was looking for potential shorts if we had a local model 1 into the imbalance and the supply. But as always, a potential scenario is only exactly that, like a scenario, so it doesn't have to play out. So we had tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, but it was also way too aggressive. So then you don't have any structure to confirm the model 1 I was looking for. So eventually we just pushed higher overnight. Very similar to last week, where we also on Sunday had that push. Like the exact same timing around. Around Sunday, move down and then push up. And now eventually this can be watched from the new range with tab 1, and this then potentially being our tab 2 of the new range. However, here, if we look at the structure on the 45, it's not valid. On the 30, it is. Then to confirm the breaker structure, because this last move is so aggressive, we basically have high, higher low, higher high. So this is our market structure low. This can also be. So basically, as long as we hold above here, this could still just be a high low for a high high, or if we sweep the lows but don't close below it, then until proven otherwise, it looks pretty strong to me. Only thing is that if we're gonna reverse, I don't know why this is here, then this is the area where it should be. So we have to keep in mind that an early weak push is always something to to be cautious of, because we have still this 1, 2, 3 model 1 distribution with the technical target is the range low right here. And we also have these lows right here, so there's definitely still liquidity lower to which is a reason to complete the model 1. And if we look at this was the range high deviation, and from there we started basically the downtrend, with the main downtrend being this. So then if you're gonna reverse, you should expect the lower high for a lower low, anywhere around here. And then often the most optimal reversal is around the 0.7 fib. And I believe we are very close to that. Yeah, so we tapped exactly the like the between the 7.2 and the 7.8, which is the optimal reversal level. And also we tapped the first supply, which is, let's see, it's a high time frame supply. Or did we front run it? Yeah, so we have here a daily supply. Maybe it's also, let's see. Because if we front run it, yeah, we front run it. Okay, so then there's also another reason for price to potentially make, like, that's mostly what I'm expecting, is potentially to get a move back down here, then get the range, and then if we create even more sell side liquidity below, to look for a bigger model 1 redistribution, where this is R1, this is R2, and then the 3 has to be formed right there. And that could be the ultimate playbook for the market maker to load up fresh shorts if we're gonna reverse. So that's what I'm looking at for now on BTC. But since it's right in the middle here, I'm basically just waiting to see what happens around this low. And yeah, here it's a bit like, here we have sell side liquidity, and the way we came down is also mostly buy side liquidity. And if this was the high, which could be, but then it's just very awkward high, which then for now I can't execute on it, because I'm not, for my own rules, I cannot short it here. And it's for me not valid to put my stop there, because we don't have an internal breaker structure yet. But if this reverses back aggressively in the range, so we break structure right there, then this is a valid range deviation. And then I will be looking for backtests, shorts tomorrow, for example, to then rotate back to the range lows. So a few scenarios which can play out. For now, just observing to see what happens. By the way, happy welcome, Arnold. So I've alert just above, in case we want to go for that supply mitigation. And then it can be potentially like a local kind of 3 drive. Alert here. And watching here, because what could also happen is that this was the 2. And then often we come back for the demand right here to mitigate that. And then go potentially for the model 1. So few ways how it could play out. And it's still very early in the week, so there's also no rush to do anything yet. We can have a look at the stats. By the way, this is the new, it's the beta, so I already have access, but this is the new platform from BrighterData. And soon they will also release some new, some massive updates, but that will all be later. Right now, let's have a look at the daily, what the pivots are. So we have daily low at hour 2, daily high at hour 9. So I already know that this is an Asia low, pretty good pivot, and this is a London high. So the stats are probably bullish with a low probability to take out the low and high probability to take out the high. But let's see what the stats say. So based on timing, 29% of the days took out the daily low, and on distance 20%. While 96% of the days form a new P2 and 84% of the days make a new high. So that indeed shows that the low is more likely to hold and the high is a weak pivot. So for the daily, that is leading bullish to see new highs. And the weekly, obviously still very, very early. But there are no big warning signs. So since it's Monday, then I'm not paying any attention to the weekly stats. But as of now, where's our weekly low? Yeah, so the daily low is also the weekly low. So based on stats, higher seems likely, but I would not bet too much on it. Let's see what price is doing here locally. We came into like this demand, and we're seeing some choppy price action. Basically have this, and then here we start flip-flopping a bit. So yeah, I can't execute on this purely because we don't have clear structure. We are chopping around more, and we have sell side liquidity below, and then from here a lot of buy side liquidity, and we are basically in the middle of this formation. So then I just remain patient. Let's see what the volume profile is doing. Yeah, I would like to see price travel towards these highs, maybe like later today or tomorrow, and then look for potential lower highs there. Because until proven otherwise, that is still the most likely scenario. Because we have that model 1, we have this downtrend. So until proven otherwise, a lower high here for a lower low, or at least towards this range low right there, is the most likely outcome. So would love to see us sweep that high into supply. And then we have a high probability setup. Right now, it can go both ways. So let's see if the order flow tells us a bit more. So we started the push on Sunday, basically here, Sunday 10. And you can see that open interest increased together with the CVD of the perps and spot as well. So normally when price increases together with your open interest, it means that positions are opening. You don't exactly know if it are longs or shorts, but if you are moving up and open interest increases, that usually means that longs are supporting the move. So that is bullish. Same as here, like perps are also entering, but that's not a bad sign, because right now they started entering right here, so they are in profit. What you don't want to see is that perps enter only after the move is done and then enter at the latest high. If they do that, then they get trapped very early. But right now, price is moving in the direction of the indicators as well. So that means that it looks pretty good for now. Simply because they are in profit. If price starts closing below here, then all the positions that have entered in this region, they will get underwater. And then it can be a very quick rotation back down. But that is only if it happens. So yeah, we cannot really bet on it that it will happen, because for now it could also just go higher and then the positions might add even more to their positions. And then if we make a new high, for example, and a lot of longs start entering while price makes a new high, which is what usually happens, then you can look for potential market structure confirmations right there, and then short, and then with a very good short on our hands. For now, yeah, it looks pretty good. Not any over leveraged positions or anything. So we have a few of these single prints, which we know the market likes to fill. We had some during the weekend right here, which was my target to fill, which price also did. And we have just above the high, which is very interesting. We have taken some of the single prints, but also left some behind. So that's another reason to potentially make a new high, fill the single prints, and also tap that supply. So I think we have a good chance to make new highs. Also because the statistics are also indicated higher. And in case we go down, we also have a reason to fill the single prints. Because on the way up, we left them behind. So what you then want to see is that if price starts taking it, let's say we first go down, then you want to see them be filled and then a quick move back up. Because then the intention of the market is to fill them and move up. If you stay too long, if you stall into those single prints, that's a weak sign. That's not what you want to see. So interesting levels on both sides, so down and up. And now it's just waiting for what is the reaction gonna be. Seeing some buying, but two New York B2s, it's weird. Yeah, so my main idea is to see new highs and then look for shorts, or go down and then potentially look for longs, depending on how we react after filling these single prints. If we stay too long here and cannot reclaim anything, then it's also likely that we get a full rotation, because then all the positions here are trapped. So I think higher, but I cannot execute here, simply because I don't have a clean invalidation here. If I would use it, then I have to cover my stop below this demand, because there's a reason for price to fill these single prints or take out these lows. So I'm betting, I think we go higher, but that does not always mean that I also have a trade. So I'm gonna remain patient for now. And I think the plan for BTC is pretty clean, just waiting for the high to be taken or for these lows to be taken for the next reaction. And then have a look at the other pairs. The most important one is oil, which is in this bigger range with, let's mark it down, range high and range low. And then we had this strong push up last week where we basically broke above this range, had a mitigation continuation. So from the low up, we have basically this uptrend with again a range recreation. So until proven otherwise, this could just be a higher low for a higher high in the making. So this is looking pretty strong. Also because there is this supply is already taken, so there's not much from here till 120. So main expectation is to see like a higher low for a higher high until proven otherwise. And more locally, we had this range demand, which then got confirmed on this push up. And early last week, we had that mitigation and then push up. So this was already a very quick mitigation of the top of the range demand. And right now you could potentially look at it from this new range, where this is the 1, 1, 2. And then this is the extreme supply. So little alert there. And then this is basically the range low. So pretty clean levels to watch on oil as well. Only interested if we, in short, if we come up here for potentially a model 2. Right there. Or yeah, could also be a model 1 as always. But have to keep in mind that there's barely any resistance in this block. So it can also just go for the main range high, which is the $120 level. And for longs, if we come down here and for example make step 2, so this is step 1, this is step 2, and then can look for model 2 accumulation or model 1, and the model 1 will be the cleanest to mitigate these demand zones. And then you have potentially a 3 drive for a kind of a reaccumulation towards the main range high right there. So pretty clean levels to keep an eye on, with the main one being this local range, which is now this. So definitely interesting, especially to see how it unfolds with, like, I believe tomorrow is the deadline, the new deadline Trump gave. But yeah, nobody believes his words anymore. So just trade a chart. It's probably the best we can do. Then let's see, others are set. Then gold is also really interesting, because we had this, we go to the 45, but basically from the low up, this uptrend, low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So this could, from the way up, can this also still be like a higher low for a higher high? But we also have this kind of range where we had range high, range low, and then a lot of sell side liquidity below. So all these lows are sell side liquidity because they have taken out the demand and pushed higher. And then last week we had that strong move down from here, creating this range supply. So prices stuck between either market structure or looking at it from a range perspective. And after this strong move down, price exactly bounced from this demand zone, protecting the range high and also protecting this liquidity trail. So this was the last level, protecting it from taking out all this sell side liquidity below. The price mitigated that demand, bounced from it, and then it started basically this local uptrend, where it formed the higher low while creating new demand right here, made locally a new high, then price mitigated this demand again, made a slight new high while creating demand in his last candle, which is now also mitigated. So locally, demand is in control, but it also means that since it's all getting mitigated, each demand zone, that there's no, basically no demand resting here to support price in case it goes down. So what we can look here is because we had a lot of sell strength, that this is potentially the down, lower high, pushback down in the range. And then the shorts are super interesting, especially since this is all sell side liquidity. And this is now also all mitigated. So there's basically nothing here to support price. And then here, this is potentially range high, range low, the internal range we can look at. And draw it in. And then step 2, this is step 1. Then if we get a, for example, a model 1 into this supply, into the fib levels, then it's a super high probability short. Short it there, and it can potentially target the end of this or the start of this liquidity drill. Because this is also like a lot of liquidity getting created here. So if we get a short in these levels, I'm super interested in it. For longs, I'm not, like this was potentially long or here, but I think longs, not super interested in longs. So mostly looking for a price to make a new high, give like a 1, 2, 3, then flip structure back to bearish, and then look for shorts to here and potentially all the way down. So that can be a super interesting short. So waiting for that, and could potentially, like if we go back to the range lows and then form a super clean accumulation here at the lows, that will be the only scenario that I want to long. For now, I'm way more interested in shorts. So let's see how that develops. Welcome, Lise, by the way, as well. So then we have BTC, gold, oil. Very quickly at the stocks. Let's see. Because here we also had the main market structure, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, swing failure of the low, rotation back to the high, which we got, and then we got that super aggressive push back in the range, and now we are, yeah, bit in the middle of nowhere. So ES is not, I would say this is your horizontal low, and then this is your horizontal high. Not super interesting, just in the middle. But I really like gold, oil, and this is still silver from last week. I'm also watching if we get weakness into this supply for potentially a fresh short to target all this liquidity below. This can be in higher time frame model 2, where this was the range high deviation with a super clean 4-hour breaker structure, the internal distribution, and here we mitigated demand, now are coming back up. So on the higher time frame, this could turn into a 1 range high deviation, very clean breaker structure. So then a model 2 is way more likely than a model 1. So if you then get a move into supply breaker structure, then you can short it back to the lows into this demand. So let's see the lower time frame. This was the 4-hour bearish break. then this is potentially the new range, but not, I don't really like it that much. I would like to see it turn into a model 1. So that this is the 1, and this wick, I don't count that. I counted that. So then this is potentially 1, 1, 2. And if this develops really nicely, right here, then it can potentially turn in a 1, 2, model 1, and then a breaker structure, and then look for shorts. And then silver is cleaner as gold. Well, I also really like gold, but then we can just keep an eye on both of them. In case gold doesn't give the trigger, then potentially silver will. Let's look at the volume profile. Yeah, so right now it's at the point of control and at the value area high. So pretty interesting level. But yeah, also here, like the last push into the second tab doesn't have any structure. So cannot confirm a breaker structure until we break this low. But that is very low. So I would absolutely love a new high for model 1. Little alert down there as well. So then we have yeah, basically all the main pairs. BTC is not really doing anything. ETH is interesting because we are breaking above this VWAP from the high, where we rejected here. Here we deviated it, shoot back down, and now we are back above it again. So that is showing some strength. And because we have on every move somewhere move up, we mitigated all supply. So there's basically only buy side liquidity here with a massive gap here as well. So I'm watching because we have a bit of a weird range where this was our range low, this a range high, this was our tab 2, and this is a super deep deviation, a bit too deep, but it would mean that this is our range high level. So price is really close to that range high. So we can also look for shorts. However, this move up so far is very strong and also a lack of good structure to work with. So a bit conflicting view on ETH. I think it can go higher, but it's also a level to look for shorts because you don't want to long into the range highs. So the only way I would potentially be interested if we come back down, then flip it back to bullish, and then look for longs, potentially targeting way higher. And else, if we have the follow BTC, potentially a new high, then I can also see this make a new high, taking out this liquidity, or potentially even this liquidity. And if we then get structure to work with, it can also give a short. But so far, not any super clean view on ETH. So then I just like BTC more because that looks more clean to me. It looks like BTC is going for that new high, which would be nice. And then we have hype, which we have been pre-planning for a long time for this model 1 or like 3 drive. Where we have 1, 2, 3. And the main bearish structure is like here, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So price is really close to the main bearish market structure and also the trend line right here. So this right here is super interesting level. And on the way up, price left this range demand behind and more local demand. So what I really would like to see is either here a fake out above, because a lot of times if you have a super clean trend line like this, it has 3 taps where the third tap is like the fake out. Then you get a deep mitigation again, and then the fourth move is often the real breakout. Simply because people see that it's such an obvious trend line. So retail thinks, oh, it's gonna break out, it's gonna break out. Then they all long this breakout, which is the perfect manipulation for the big players to move it one more time down, use all their liquidations as well to buy into new positions, and then you often get the real break. So best case scenario is that we see something similar, with first a manipulation above the market structure high and this trend line, and then get an opportunity to long anywhere in this box. So I have alerts at this level to see the reaction. If we have like a super strong breakout above, then that would also be fine, because then we broke structure back to bullish. So then we can just look for either retracements for longs or watch for a new range and then long the sweeps of the range low. So mostly interested in longs on this one. Depends a bit if we get a breakout above here and then look for backtests like this, or if we manipulate here, get back below, then I think we get a really good opportunity down here, and then get that fourth breakout level. So definitely one of the more important charts to watch coming week. Just as Tao, which last week we had the like more downtrend here, and then instead of the downtrend, it started more and more to go sideways. And then I said here, I want to see some signs of strength before getting excited. And that is what we are seeing now. Nice push above. Also flipping some internal VWAPs. And right now, getting rejected by the VWAP from the top down. So I'm watching for potential structure into one of these levels. And then also super interested in longs on Tao. Because this seems like equal highs. Yeah, so that's super nice. It means that there's even more reason to go higher. And also, if you watch this is a lot of buy side liquidity. You can basically, like the inverse skate. So super interested in backtests. And also here we have some range demand at the lower part, some demand. So this is also a demand level. So I have alerts down here, and then see if we get some retests lower, or that we can watch for like range. And then have like step 1. Say this is step 1. Because this can also all be rimsies. So have to keep an eye on it. We might not get it too deep. But here we have like range, break above, mitigate, continue. So we can also just watch the lower time frames for potential longs. And then the first interesting level I see is here. So an alert here right there. And then just play this local trend. High, higher low, higher high, range, 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 which eventually is just a higher low for a higher high. So that's the plan for Tao. And then we have everything. So quickly, oil in the middle, gold also waiting for the third tap, similar as silver waiting for the third tap. If we don't get it, then we simply don't get it. And Tao looking for mostly interesting longs, either local longs here, or like the higher probability plays will be if we give like a super good retrace into one of these levels, and then look for swing longs. And otherwise the local trend is already getting bullish, so then I like more and more the super trend, where you can see right here on the 15-minute it's super bullish. Right now you get the local range, but often that is just if you have a super clean uptrend and then a range, then either it's an accumulation, so a reaccumulation to continue higher, or there's a distribution to continue lower. But then you can watch, what is this range doing? Are we sweeping the lows or are we sweeping the highs? Right now you see that it's has more signs of sweeping the lows. So then you can watch, okay, that could be a better indication that we have uptrend sideways before continuing up. Because the trend is up, you should always follow the trend. And then the range will tell you, give you more signs. If instead of here we start taking out the highs, then it can give you signs, okay, this is ready to reverse lower. For now, I think it looks pretty good. And then also if you look at the hourly flipped also bullish. So could also just be a retest here, higher, tap the super trend and then continue higher. So I think for coming week, super clean levels to work with. For Tao, hype, traveling towards that level. And then for ETH a little bit less clean. And BTC is in the middle of nowhere. So I want to either watch for shorts there or on a backtest for longs. And also have to keep in mind that the model 1, so the 1, 2, 3 is just a scenario. Not forcing it, because it can also be that we just invalidate it and push higher. And then the whole market will likely send higher. So I think that's it for the stream right now. Not really anything to execute for me just yet. But we have super clean levels. So then it's just matter of setting the alerts, wait for them to be hit, and don't take any stupid trades in between. And then we should have a pretty exciting week ahead. And then from tomorrow we also have the stats, which are more reliable and can look at. So here, yeah. So that was it for this stream. If there are no questions anymore, then I will keep it at this. And we'll be back tomorrow with another live stream and some updates through the day. For now, just waiting for some more action. So thanks, Arnoud. Appreciate it. And then I want to wish everyone a super great rest of the day. It's for a lot of people still holiday, so enjoy it. And then I speak to you guys in the Discord as always, and see you likely tomorrow during the stream. So enjoy the day, and I'll speak to you.